Hello and welcome. We are live from New Delhi. You're watching DD India News Hour, India's voice to the world. I'm Abhishek Mahajan. Coming up in the next stop. Millions left in awe as total solar eclipse sweeps Mexico, US and Canada. North Americans celebrate with jazz, music and matrimony. The first total solar eclipse to darken the continent in 7 years. Israel PM Netanyahu set stage for Rafah offensive as Gaza truce talks remain deadlocked. UN Security Council refers Palestine's full UN membership bid to committee. India restates its position on Gaza crisis, reaffirms support for two-state solution.
We are committed to supporting a two-state solution where the Palestinian people are able to live freely in an independent country within secure borders with due regard to the security needs of Israel.
Indo-Pacific security concerns and an upgrade in defense ties in focus as Japanese PM Fumio Kishida arrives in the US, will become the second Japanese leader to address a joint meeting of Congress on Tuesday. Does government inaction on climate change violates human rights? All eyes on European Court of Human Rights as it prepares to give rulings on 3 separate cases, verdicts to set a precedent for future litigation. Total solar eclipse swept across North America. Millions were left speechless and mesmerized by the breathtaking celestial experience. The moon's shadow plunged the Pacific coast of Mexico into total darkness at 18 GMT and swept across the United States at supersonic speed before it returns to the ocean over Canada's Atlantic coast just under an hour and a half after landfall. A total solar eclipse was visible across Arlington, Texas, for the first time since 1878 on Monday. The total solar eclipse, where the moon completely obscures the view of the sun, lasted for more than 3 minutes. Hundreds of people gazed up at the sky. And people in New York City saw a partial eclipse which peaked at 89% totality at 3:25 p.m. local time. About 32 million people in the United States live within the path of totality. People were in awe as they watched the eclipse in New York City's Times Square.
Чего делать? Можно делать все.
And the sky watchers flocked to Niagara Falls to witness first total solar eclipse to darken the continent in 7 years. In the roaring cascades of Niagara Falls at the US-Canadian border, spellbound crowds reacted to the sight of totality with jaw-dropping expressions of awe and joy. And with all eyes on the sky, passengers aboard a Delta Airlines plane had a once-in-a-lifetime viewing party unlike any other riding the solar eclipse's path of totality on Monday. Taking off from Austin, Texas, the flight hovered 30,000 feet above the ground, carrying a sold-out cabin filled with excited eclipse enthusiasts before landing in Detroit, Michigan.
We're going to make a full left turn and then do a right.
And the aerial footage showed people gathering at a beach in Canada when the skies darkened under the approaching lunar shadow. All right, moving on to our next story now. Israel has set a date for its forces to enter Rafah in southern Gaza. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu on Monday said he had received a detailed report on the talks in Cairo. He said Israel is working round the clock to achieve a complete victory over Hamas.
I received a detailed report on the talks in Cairo. We are constantly working to achieve our goals. First and foremost, the release of all our hostages and achieving a complete victory over Hamas. This victory requires entry into Rafah and the elimination of the terrorist battalions there. It will happen. There is a date.
And Hamas has rejected an Israeli ceasefire proposal made at talks in Cairo. Israeli and Hamas officials say no significant progress has been made in the latest round of Gaza truce talks in Cairo, attended by representatives from mediators Egypt, Qatar and the United States. A senior Hamas leader told the news agency that Hamas has rejected the latest Israeli proposals. Earlier on Monday, Egypt state media said that some progress had been made in the Cairo talks. And the United States said it has not been briefed on a date for Israel's offensive of Rafah. State Department spokesperson Matthew Miller told reporters at a regular news briefing that Washington does not want to see a full-scale Rafah offensive. And the United Nations Security Council on Monday referred the Palestinian Authority's application to become a full member of the world body to the Committee on the Admission of New Members. The proposal for the referral, made by Ambassador Vanessa Frazier of Malta, Security Council President for April, received no objections from the body's 15 members. Palestine is a non-member observer state of the United Nations.
The Security Council will now begin its consideration of Item 2 on the agenda. In a letter dated 2nd April 2024, addressed to the Secretary-General, the permanent observer of the Observer State of Palestine referred to the application of the State of Palestine for membership in the United Nations contained in document S/2011/592, dated 23rd September 2011, and requested that renewed consideration be given to that application by the Security Council during the month of April 2024. That letter has been circulated in document S/2024/286.
And restating India's position on Gaza crisis, Indian ambassador to UN Ruchira Kamboj condemned the Israel attack on October 7. Addressing the United Nations General Assembly, she reaffirmed India's support for two-state solution. Listen in.
India's position on the conflict has been clearly articulated on more than one occasion by our leadership. There are 4 key points here. 1. The ongoing conflict between Israel and Hamas has led to a large-scale loss of civilian lives, especially women and children. The resulting humanitarian crisis is simply unacceptable. 2. The terror attacks on Israel on 7 October were shocking, and they deserve our unequivocal condemnation. There can be no justification for terrorism and hostage-taking. India has a long-standing and uncompromising position against terrorism in all its forms and manifestations, and we demand the immediate and unconditional release of all hostages. 3. The humanitarian situation in Gaza is dire. It is imperative that humanitarian aid to the people of Gaza be scaled up immediately in order to avert a further deterioration in the situation. 4, my leadership has repeatedly emphasized that only a two-state solution achieved through direct and meaningful negotiations between both sides on final status issues will deliver an enduring peace.
Now, Japanese Prime Minister Fumio Kishida arrived in Washington on Monday, becoming the first Japanese leader to make a state visit to the United States in 9 years. During his visit, Kishida will hold a bilateral summit with US President Joe Biden. He will also address a joint meeting of Congress on Thursday. Kishida will be the second Japanese leader to address the joint meeting of Congress after his predecessor Shinzo Abe gave a speech in 2015. Kishida will also join the first ever summit of the US, Japanese and Philippine leaders in Washington. French President Emmanuel Macron met with British Prime Minister Rishi Sunak via video conference on Monday to mark the 120th anniversary of the Entente Cordiale. The Entente Cordiale, dating back to 1904, put a stop to centuries of military rivalries between France and Britain to see the two European powers fight on the same side during 2 world wars. The two leaders were expected to speak of bilateral relations a year after a French-British summit in Paris and before a meeting of the European political community, which will be held in Britain on July 18. French President Emmanuel Macron met Serbian President Alexander Vučić in Paris on Monday to hold talks about European defense and security. The leaders were set to discuss Serbian membership to the European Union and France's support to Serbia in the face of its ongoing conflicts with Kosovo. Macron said Serbia has an important role to play in strengthening the strategic autonomy of the European Union. Speaking in joint statements alongside Macron, Vučić said new elections must be held in 4 Serb-majority municipalities in northern Kosovo. And the US military said on Monday it destroyed air defense and drone systems of Houthi forces in the area of Red Sea with no injuries or damage reported to commercial US and coalition ships. The US Central Command said on X its forces had destroyed an air defense system with 2 missiles ready to launch, a ground control station in Houthi-controlled areas of Yemen, and 1 unmanned aerial system launched by the Houthis from Yemen over the Red Sea. Houthi forces in Yemen said on Sunday they had launched rockets and drones at British, US and Israeli ships, the latest in a campaign of attacks on shipping in support of Palestinians in the Gaza war. Houthi attacks have disrupted global shipping through the Suez Canal, forcing firms to reroute to longer and more expensive journeys around southern Africa. The United States and Britain have launched strikes on Houthi targets in Yemen. All right, we'll step into a very short break, but still to come on this edition of DD India News Hour. EU agriculture ministers to meet on Tuesday to discuss capping agricultural imports from Ukraine. The Mozambique government will meet today to assess the situation after 100 killed in ferry incident, 10 people rescued, 20 still missing. In an unprecedented move, French and British troops swapped roles to take part in ceremonies outside the palaces of the country's heads of state to celebrate 120 years since the Entente Cordiale.
Always welcoming. The vibe of Punjab is larger than life. Warm up to grandeur that's beyond compare. And history that's dotted with tales of bravery. Smiling soul of India, where music, art, cuisine and culture comes together to create an unforgettable impression. Punjab is all set to win your hearts with its unique and colourful extravaganza.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India News Hour. I'm Abhishek Mahajan. EU agriculture ministers are meeting on Tuesday to discuss capping agricultural imports from Ukraine. Amid pressure from farming groups, member countries have agreed to impose restrictions on imports which farmers said were flooding European markets and hurting their income. DD India's Ishan Garg has more from Brussels.
The informal meeting of European Union agriculture ministers is expected to focus on fine-tuning a deal that caps agricultural imports from Ukraine. Last month, EU ambassadors had decided to widen the basket of products classified as sensitive items. The revised list now includes poultry, eggs and sugar, among other items. The new safeguards mean these products will face additional tariffs if their import exceeds the average volume of the past 3 years. Now, agriculture ministers are likely to push towards a finished proposal that can then be sent off to the European Parliament for a final sign-off. There has been increased pressure on EU member states to clamp down on Ukrainian goods as farmers across the bloc have been protesting for months. Now, France and Poland particularly have pushed for tougher import restrictions. These could cost Ukraine 330 million euros. And it stands opposed to the bloc's promise of supporting Ukraine through its war with Russia. Reports say the EU Council, currently headed by Belgium, is moving its position closer to that of the European Parliament. The idea is to get the restrictions approved there before the parliamentary elections in June. Now, members of the European Parliament fear that if the farmers' concerns are not addressed, they could vote for far-right parties in 2 months' time. EU member states' representatives are expected to negotiate with the Parliament in the next few days. The Belgian presidency says it hopes the Parliament will act on them swiftly. If approved there, it will be a major win for European farming groups. Ishan Garg in Brussels, reporting for DD India.
Security pact with Britain and the United States, saying on Tuesday any cooperation would be on a project-by-project basis as differences emerge within the pact over adding new members. Prime Minister of Australia Anthony Albanese praised Japan as a close partner but said there were no plans to add a fourth member to the pact. He was addressing a news conference hours after the AUKUS defence ministers announced they would consider working with Japan on military technology projects. AUKUS, formed by 3 countries in 2021, is part of efforts to push back against China's growing power in the Indo-Pacific region. Now, US President Joe Biden announced on Monday his plans to ease student debt that would benefit at least 23 million Americans, addressing a key issue for young voters whose support he needs as he seeks re-election in November. The plans include cancelling up to $20,000 of accrued and capitalized interest for borrowers, regardless of income, which Biden's administration estimates would eliminate the entirety of that interest for 23 million borrowers.
The Department of Education will propose a new rule to cancel student debt for Americans facing financial hardships, from child care to health care, to prevent them from paying back their loans. And over the coming months, the Department of Education will propose and then implement these plans. And starting this fall, we plan to deliver up to $20,000 in interest relief to over 20 million borrowers and full forgiveness for millions more.
And in a big shock to the United States, former President Donald Trump, a New York judge has denied his bid to delay his April 15 criminal trial. The former US president is contending with allegations that he paid hush money to an adult film star while attempting to have the case transferred from Manhattan. Associate Justice Lisbeth Gonzalez issued her decision shortly after a half-hour hearing at the Appellate Division in Manhattan, a mid-level state appeals court. Trump, the Republican candidate challenging Democrat President Joe Biden in November 5th U.S. election, has pleaded not guilty to 34 counts of falsifying business records. And the trial of 29 individuals charged in connection with the worldwide Panama Papers money laundering scandal began in Panama City on Monday, including the founders of law firm Mossack Fonseca and companies summoned Jurgen Mossack and Ramon Fonseca, whose firm was central to the 2016 offshore financial services scandal, are among those facing charges. The maximum sentence for money laundering is of 12 years, and the trial is expected to continue until April 26th. Moving further, the Mozambican government will meet on Tuesday to assess the situation after a ferry boat sank off the northern coast. Over 100 people killed in the incident, 10 rescued, while nearly 20 others were still missing. An official from the country's Maritime Transport Institute said the vessel carrying 130 passengers was an overloaded fishing boat and was not licensed to transport people. It was ferrying people from Lunga in Nampula province to Mozambique Island on Sunday. Initial reports indicated that the ferry was hit by a tidal wave. The passengers were reportedly fleeing a cholera outbreak. Mozambique's President Filipe Nyusi said he was saddened by the tragedy and directed the southern African nation's transport minister to visit the island for investigation. And as gang violence grapples Haiti, leaders have approved a deal for a temporary government to steer the Caribbean nation out of gang-fueled chaos. Though the details must first be approved by the outgoing authorities, late on Sunday, the Transition Council members submitted their plan to CARICOM, the regional organization for the Caribbean. A 9-member council comprising 2 observers and 7 voting members is established under the accord, whose purpose is to prepare the ground for presidential elections by the beginning of 2026. The new government will take over for departing Prime Minister Edouard Henry, who tendered his resignation on March 11 following a spike in gang-related violence in Haiti. Now, British and French guards swapped roles for changing of the guard ceremonies on Monday, marking the 120th anniversary of the Entente Cordiale. Grenadiers of the British royal household and the French Guard marched at the Élysée Presidential Palace in Paris. French President Emmanuel Macron and British Ambassador to France, Mina Rawlings, watched British Guards taking part in this ceremony. Signed in 1904, the Entente Cordiale Accord is a series of agreements which settled former disputes and significantly improved relations between the countries. This is the first time in the history of Élysée Palace that foreign troops were invited to take part in the military ritual. Extreme weather has caused havoc in many countries around the world over the past several months, with record temperatures sparking wildfires, water shortages and a rise in heat-related issues. Now the governments will be feeling the heat on Tuesday as the European Court of Human Rights will rule an unprecedented verdict in 3 separate court cases on the climate change. Crucially, the verdicts could force them to adopt more ambitious climate policies. It will be the first time the court will issue a ruling on climate change. While several European states, including France, have already been condemned by domestic courts for not fulfilling commitments against global warming, the ECHR could go further and make clear new fundamental rights. The court heard all 3 cases in 2023, and all 3 cases are being decided by the court's top bench, the Grand Chamber, which only hear cases that raise serious questions about the interpretation of 1953 Convention on Human Rights. The past 10 months have seen monthly temperature records broken, with the most recent March on record being the warmest on record. The Climate Change Monitoring Service of the European Union reports that when compared to the equivalent month in prior years, each of the last 10 months has been the hottest on record worldwide. The 12 months ending with March also ranked as the planet's hottest ever recorded 12-month period, while C3S Deputy Director Samantha Burgess said that the long-term trend with exceptional records has them very concerned. Now, the frequency of El Nino occurrences in southern Africa surpassed the norm resulting in erratic weather patterns that significantly impact food security, particularly in Zimbabwe. Southern Africa is reeling from its worst drought in years owing to a combination of naturally occurring El Nino and an abnormal warming of the waters in the eastern Pacific radiates heat into the air, leading to hotter weather across the world and higher average temperatures produced by greenhouse gas emissions. Weather across the world produced record-breaking extremes in 2023 as climate change amplified the impacts of El Nino. One of the worst floods in decades have hit a string of Russian regions in the Ural Mountains and Siberia, alongside parts of neighboring Kazakhstan in recent days. Floodwaters triggered by melting snow have affected at least 10,000 homes and forcing thousands of people to flee. Over 15 schools had been flooded. Meanwhile, Russian President Vladimir Putin declared an emergency in the Orenburg region after the Ural River, Europe's third longest river, swelled several meters in Ors and burst through a dam embankment in the city of Ors. And the UK is in for a chaotic next few days as Storm Kathleen is expected to cause travel disruption. Dozens of flights and ferries were already cancelled. The Met Department issued 127 flood alerts and 20 flood warnings across England and Wales with strong winds and rainfall through Tuesday and Wednesday. The department also warned of potential damage to buildings, power cuts, poor mobile phone coverage and danger to life because of large waves and debris from beaches being thrown onto seafronts. Renowned late English singer Amy Winehouse's biographical film Back to Black had its world premiere in London on Monday. Directed by Sam Taylor Johnson, the drama chronicles Amy's journey with fame, relationship and life. It comes nearly 13 years after the 6-time Grammy Award winner died from alcohol poisoning, aged 27. The film stars British actress Marisa Abela as Amy. The film will be released globally on April 11. Now, Saudi Arabia announced on Monday that the holiday of Eid al-Fitr, marking the end of the Ramadan fast, will begin on Wednesday. Eid al-Fitr or Ramadan Eid marks the end of the fasting month of Ramadan. Ramadan is a time of increased worship, charity and good deeds. Eid means the feast or festival of breaking the fast. Now let's take a look at other stories making news around the world. Millions of Indonesian Muslims braved extensive traffic jams as they began the journey to their hometowns ahead of Eid al-Fitr on Wednesday. Drone footage showed thousands of vehicles queuing to board ferries at a seaport in Merak. Jakarta residents started leaving the capital from over the weekend through various modes of transportation. Around 193 million people across the nation were expected to travel during the week-long holiday this year. The first German soldiers arrived in Vilnius in Lithuania for permanent deployment in the country. The Vilnius German ambassador to Lithuania called the decision to permanently deploy troops to NATO's eastern flank unprecedented. Lithuanian defense minister said that German reliability was very important for his country, adding that the vast majority of Lithuanians supported the presence of German soldiers in their country. A Peruvian man claims he chanced upon the cave in Peru's remote Nazca region that contained hundreds of pre-Hispanic artifacts. The plateau is famous for the Nazca lines, incisions on the desert floor, forming birds and other animals visible from the air. All right, we'll slip into a very short break, but still to come on this edition of DD India News Hour. Election fever grips India with parties scrambling to secure victory. India's PM Narendra Modi to hold rallies and roadshows in 3 Indian states. Festival season begins in India with Navratri, Gudi Padwa, Ugadi marking the beginning of Hindu New Year celebrations across India. As Hindus across India welcome the New Year, renowned sand artist Darshan Patnaik marks the celebrations in a unique way.
of a rising aspirational world. Stories of challenges, struggles and accomplishment. A world battling conflict, hunger and poverty. Embracing growth, development, science and technology. A voice of progress, a voice of unity. Watch Voice of the Global South with me, Akshay Dongre, only on DD India.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India News Hour. I'm Abhishek Mahajan. Recap of what we have done so far. Millions left in awe as total solar eclipse sweeps Mexico, US and Canada. North Americans celebrate with cheers, music and matrimony. The first total solar eclipse to darken the continent in 7 years. Israel PM Netanyahu set stage for Rafah offensive as Gaza truce talks remain deadlocked. UN Security Council refers Palestine's full UN membership bid to committee. India restates its position on Gaza crisis, reaffirms support for two-state solution. Does government inaction on climate change violates human rights? All eyes on European Court of Human Rights as it prepares to give rulings on 3 separate cases, verdicts to set a precedent for future litigation. Now let's get you the latest on world's largest democratic election in India. With polling just over 10 days away for India's Lok Sabha elections 2024, parties are in full campaign mode and intensifying their efforts to secure victory in the upcoming general elections. Prime Minister Narendra Modi will visit 3 Indian states to hold public rallies on Tuesday. The Prime Minister will hold public rallies in Uttar Pradesh, Pilibhit, along with Madhya Pradesh, Balaghat today. PM Modi will also conduct a roadshow in Tamil Nadu's Chennai and address a public meeting in Vellore Lok Sabha constituency. Earlier, PM Modi attended public meetings in Chhattisgarh's Basta and Maharashtra's Chandrapur district on Monday. Meanwhile, India's Home Minister Amit Shah will hold a public rally in Assam on Tuesday. India's Defence Minister Rajnath Singh will visit Arunachal Pradesh Namsai district to campaign for Bharatiya Janata Party. All right, let's cut across to Chennai, where India's Anbarsan Elango is joining us live. Good morning, Anbarsan. PM will be in Tamil Nadu for the next 2 days, today and tomorrow, and PM will hold a roadshow in Chennai on Tuesday and address 2 public meetings also the next day. Fill us in with more details.
As 10 days is just more for the polling date in April 19th, the political campaigning in Tamil Nadu is in full swing. The leaders of all the BJP, Congress and all the 3 alliances, DMK, ADMK and also the BJP, all are there coming for the campaign. And today Prime Minister Narendra Modi will conduct a roadshow in the BC T Nagar, the commercial hotspot of Chennai, and at 6 p.m. After that he is holding a public meet in Vellore tomorrow. And this meet after continuous visit to Tamil Nadu, last time he visited YMCA Chennai, rallied in Chennai, and also he went for the Vellore last time, and today he will be conducting a public roadshow in T Nagar and also the public meet in Vellore and Mettupalayam for supporting Vellore constituency Ashi Shanmugam and also the MOS L Murugan, the current NV Minister of State in Nilgiris constituency. And also Chennai, both constituencies, Central Chennai and South Chennai, Tamilisi Sandwararajan and the Vinod P. Selvam, both candidates Prime Minister supporting for the public rally and conducting it. So the Minister of Information Broadcasting yesterday, Anurag Singh Thakur, attended a public meeting in Chennai, and he said that continuous visit of Prime Minister Narendra Modi and the popularity of Prime Minister Narendra Modi is continuously growing in Tamil Nadu. Due to that, the DMK is fearing they may lose the election. The reply from the DMK as continuously the government as doing last 2.5 years, the ruling party DMK came and they did development schemes and all, and continuously they are accusing the central government for the not allocating the fund properly and mismanagement, and properly the aims Madurai has been not implemented till now. So the allocation from the both ADMK, DMK and the BJP, the triangular fight has been more in significance of this election due to the fast pace. So all the national leaders, yesterday Defence Minister Rajnath Singh and various Union Minister Rupala, all came to Chennai and Namakkal for the political campaigning, and the Chief Minister M.K. Stalin, the DMK's leader, also did a political campaigning in Puducherry, and he said that Puducherry will need to get a statehood. So the Congress manifesto also amplifies that. So we are working for, the India bloc will be working for to get that Puducherry statehood. So overall this election, all these three major alliances of DMK, ADMK and BJP are in full swing across all 39 constituencies in Tamil Nadu for their election battle.
Anbarsan, you are talking about the triangular contest, but we got to agree that the BJP does not have much presence in southern India. Tell us, what do you think would be BJP's position this time around in South India?
As the DMK and the other alliances are continuously accusing BJP for North India based party and Hindi belt party, so that image the BJP have to break it. For that, they took a lot of initiative regarding they continuously emphasizing Tamil identity, language. They put a Sengol in a parliament, new parliament, the inaugurated parliament, and continuous emphasis on various world stages in UN of Tamil language. Prime Minister also emphasized that one of the oldest language, living language of world. So the continuous push towards a Tamil identity language, it makes Tamil Nadu to get more connection. The BJP is continuously doing, and also this time after they breaking alliance with the ADMK, they put a strong candidates and star valued candidates, the BJP state president K. Annamalai, former governor Tamilsai Soundararajan, and the star actress Radhika Sarath Kumar, and various, so they will get more winnability and get more seats. So this continuous push on Tamil Nadu and development issues and all projects, so it will make more impact on the getting vote. True. And so it will be converted into seat. So that is what the BJP is hoping. But continuous that the DMK and ADMK also saying that these issues are not implemented in the project level, and the BJP is just giving a voice only, not given a output. So that is what the DMK and the ADMK is accusing on BJP. So right. We need to see in this election we need to wait and see for the election what is the result of that, if the BJP breaks that Hindi centric and North based past centric.
Yeah, we'll get to know about the strategies. We'll leave it there for the time being, Anbarsan, but we'll keep taking updates from you. 39 Lok Sabha seats from Tamil Nadu will go to polls on April 19. Unlike in 2019, Tamil Nadu in 2024 seems poised for a three-cornered contest, with the ruling DMK-led front remaining cohesive. The BJP-led National Democratic Alliance, which is NDA, roping in one more party, that is the PMK, and the AIA-DMK being left with smaller organizations. Our report.
Located in the extreme southern part of India, the peninsular state of Tamil Nadu is home to Kanyakumari or Cape Comorin, its southernmost tip, which is the location of the intersection of the Arabian Sea, Bay of Bengal and the Indian Ocean. The state, with a rich Dravidian history, also shares its borders with three South Indian states, Kerala, Karnataka and Andhra Pradesh. Spread in an area of over 130,000 square kilometers, Tamil Nadu is a bouquet of ancient Indian culture and UNESCO World Heritage Sites. From Mamallapuram's Shore Temple to Thanjavu's Airavateshwara Temple to the Nilgiri Mountain Railway, the state has a wide variety to offer. The state is also well known for its vibrant and emphatic political colors, which are becoming evident on the state's political canvas. Tamil Nadu has 39 Lok Sabha or lower house seats in the Indian Parliament, all of which are scheduled for a single-phase election on April 19th. The state has a total voter population of 61.8 million, comprising 31.4 million women and over 30.3 million men. Over 8,200 voters in the state are from the third gender community. The state is currently governed by the Dravida Munnetra Kadagam or DMK, which bagged maximum seats in the 2021 assembly elections. Other political parties in the state are All India Anna Dravida Munnetra Kadagam or AIA-DMK, Indian National Congress and several other parties like Patali Makkal Kachi or PMK, the Bharatiya Janata Party, Vidyuthalai Chiruthaigal Kachi or VCK, Communist Party of India and Communist Party of India Marxist. In the 2019 general elections in Tamil Nadu, DMK Congress Alliance garnered majority of the seats, winning 38 of the total 39 seats. The state has a history of politics being swayed by cult figures and well-known actors like Rajnikant, the legendary M.G. Ramachandran and J. Jayalalitha. Onlookers are now keenly watching how the national issues will play out in the minds of the Tamil Nadu voters this election season. Antra Sinha for DT India.
A number of women candidates grew 16-fold from 1957 to 2019. Women made up only 9% of Lok Sabha candidates in 2019. However, the number of women candidates has never crossed 1,000 in Lok Sabha elections. Parties claim they look at winnability when it comes to choosing candidates, but women in the election fray, which is the focus in our next report.
As India, the world's largest democracy, gears up for the upcoming general elections, the spotlight shines on the powerful participation of Indian women in shaping the nation's political landscape. From the beginning of the Constitution, Indian women have been granted the right to vote, which is the cornerstone of democracy. However, the actual turnout of women voters has often been lower than that of men. Various factors, including socio-economic issues, may have led to this situation. But now, the tide seems to be turning. The gender gap in voter turnout has significantly reduced in recent years, with 65.63% of women exercising their right to vote in the 2014 parliamentary elections, demonstrating the growing political involvement of Indian women. In 16 out of 29 states, more women turned out to vote than men, highlighting their substantial influence in shaping the nation's political landscape. In the 2019 Lok Sabha election, which was a historic moment in the country's post-independence era, 77 women were elected as members of Lok Sabha. Additionally, there are over 1.45 million or 46% women elected representatives in Panchayati Raj institutions, surpassing the mandatory representation of 33%. The 73rd and 74th Amendments 1992 to the Constitution of India have reserved 1/3 seats in the Panchayat and municipalities for women. India is presently one of the only 15 countries in the world with a woman head of state. Globally, India has the largest absolute number of elected women representatives in local governments. Also, for the first time, women voters outnumbered men in the southern Indian state of Tamil Nadu. Similarly, the participation of women in Indian politics is on the rise. On 19 September 2023, India's Prime Minister introduced the historic Nari Shakti Vandan Abhiniyam Women's Reservation Bill, which seeks to provide a 33% quota for women in Lok Sabha and state assemblies. It can only come into effect after a delimitation based on a census conducted after the bill has been passed, with the next delimitation scheduled for 2026. As India prepares for another historic election, the women of this diverse and vibrant nation are set to make their voices heard, once again proving that they are an integral part of the democratic fabric of India. Sujata Lochab, DD India.
And the month of April brings along a long list of New Year's celebrated by different communities across the country, including the Hindu New Year, which is also celebrated as Gudi Padwa in Maharashtra. The festival, also known as Ugadi or Chaitra Shukla Pratipada, marks the beginning of the Hindu New Year. This auspicious day falls on the first day of the Hindu lunisolar calendar. DD India, Shama Mishra has more in this report.
The celebration of Gudi Padwa holds profound cultural and traditional significance in the Indian state of Maharashtra. One of the most striking customs of this festival is the raising of the Gudi, a decorated pole with a bright cloth or sari, garland, and a metal pot adorned with neem leaves, mango leaves, and a coconut. The Gudi symbolizes victory and prosperity, signifying the victory of Lord Ram over Ravan and the commencement of a prosperous new year. Gudi Padwa is a time of renewal, not only in terms of calendar, but also in spiritual and personal spheres. It is an occasion for cultural festivities and social gatherings. Communities organize processions, popularly called Shobha Yatras, folk dances, and musical performances to showcase their rich heritage and traditions. It serves as a platform for strengthening social bonds and fostering a sense of unity and belongingness among people. The festival of Gudi Padwa also carries agricultural significance. It marks the onset of the Rabi crop season, when farmers start ploughing their fields and sowing seeds. Thus, it is a time of hope and anticipation for a bountiful harvest in the coming months. In essence, Gudi Padwa is more than just a New Year celebration. It is a reflection of the cultural vibrancy, spiritual richness, and agricultural prosperity of Indian society. Shama Mishra reports for DD India.
All right, let's go across to Mumbai now. DD India's Shama Mishra is joining us live to talk more on this. Shama, how do the people there plan to celebrate this festival? How excited are they for Gudi Padwa? I know it's big for them.
Well, Abhishek, for starters, Happy Navratri, Happy Gudi Padwa, Ugadi, and everything which is being celebrated today. We are here in Mumbai, in Burmese area, and you can see behind me, this is called the Doordarshan. It's usually Nashik Doordarshan, and this is basically used everywhere around Mumbai to celebrate this day. We also have people with us who are dressed as Shivaji, who are dressed as various traditional characters of Maharashtra. We have little Shivaji with us, and he is all set for the fancy dress competition. Kya bane ho aap? Okay, Shivaji is a little timid right now, but he was speaking to us about, how excited he is for Gudi Padwa. As you can see over here, this is Doordarshan, and just ahead of it is the Gudi, which we are always talking about, raising of the Gudi. So the puja, the worshipping is done, and now they will raise the Gudi, and after that, the Shobha Yatra, the procession will begin. Where I am right now, they are dealing in a lot of social work. They're helping the visually impaired. They are also organizing various campaigns. They are also organizing fancy dress competition, as I've already mentioned. So this entire Rath Yatra or Shobha Yatra will be, in a sense, for the return of the Ram Rajya, because we have seen the Ram Rajya has been already established. Apart from that, it's the 350th year of Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj's coronation, and that yatra will also be taken out. So all in all, it's a bouquet of celebration, festivities and fervor for the Maharashtra. Maharashtrians. Back to you.
Right, Shama, good visuals there, and we can see you're already celebrating. Happy Gudi Padwa to you also. Thank you for your inputs. Moving on to our next story now. As Hindus across India welcome the new year, renowned sand artist Doordarshan Patnaik marked the celebrations in a unique way. Patnaik created a 5-feet-high sand art of Lord Ram with installation of flowers at Puri beach in state of Odisha. He used about 4 tons of sand on it. His students also joined hands to complete the sculpture. All right, time now for another short break, but still to come on this edition of DD India News Hour. In Indian Premier League, Chennai Super Kings return to winning ways, defeat Kolkata Knight Riders in one-sided affair. Sumit Nagal creates history, first Indian man to win main draw match at Monte Carlo Masters. And rivals Manchester City and Real Madrid clash in Champions League last 8. Bayern Munich lock horns with Arsenal.
India that invents. India that innovates. India that excites. India that invites. Land of possibilities. Teeming with opportunities. Watch India Ideas each Thursday 8 p.m. only on DD India.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India News Hour. I'm Abhishek Mahajan. Sports updates now. We'll start with cricket. IPL. After 2 losses on the trot, Chennai Super Kings returned to winning ways with a convincing 7-wicket win over Kolkata Knight Riders on Tuesday in Chennai. Following a phenomenal bowling performance, CSK successfully chased down a modest target of 138, led by captain Ruturaj Gaikwad's impressive half-century. The home team sealed the win in just 17.4 overs. And an inconsistent Punjab Kings will take on highly aggressive Sunrisers Hyderabad as the two teams clash in a mid-table battle in IPL on Tuesday. Both SRH and PBKS have 2 wins and 2 losses from their 4 matches to be tied with 2 other teams in the middle with 4 points, and they will be desperate to break out of the mid-table log jam first. In tennis, Sumit Nagal created history as he became the first ever Indian man to record a main draw win at Monte Carlo Masters. He defeated Italy's Matteo Arnaldi in the first round on Monday. The unseeded 95th ranked Nagal became only the 3rd Indian ever to feature in the main draw in Monte Carlo after Vijay Amritraj and Ramesh Krishnan. Nagal came from a set down to beat world number 35 5-7, 6-2, 6-4 in 2 hours and 37 minutes. Nagal is also the first ever Indian to win an ATP Masters 1000 match on clay since the series began in 1990. The Indian will next face 7th seed Dane and last year's runner-up Holger Rune. Football now. Defending champions Manchester City meet record winners Real Madrid in the first leg of the Champions League quarterfinals at the Bernabeu in Madrid on Tuesday. City beat 14-time Champions League winners in the Champions League semi-finals last season, drawing 1-1 away and securing a thumping 4-0 victory at the Etihad in the second leg. However, in 2022, it was Real Madrid who knocked City out in the semi-final 6-5 on aggregate after extra time. The second leg will be played at the Etihad in Manchester on April 17. The winner will play either Arsenal or Bayern Munich in the semis. Now, in-form Arsenal will be seeking to set the record straight when they face Bayern Munich in the first leg of the Champions League quarterfinals on Tuesday, but will be wary of a familiar face who simply loves scoring against the Gunners. The last time the two clubs clashed in the competition in 2017, Bayern Munich won both legs of the last 16 tie 5-1, a humiliating outcome that underlined Arsenal's decline. Alright, that's all for this edition of DD India News Hour, but do let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. You can connect with us on Facebook, X, formerly Twitter and Instagram. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Abhishek Mahajan. From all of us here in Delhi, thanks for watching DD India News Hour.